Hi, my name is Alexis Shatrau. I'm a Michigan Tech undergraduate student, and I was awarded a SURF grant to investigate what wildberry species it infests, as well as the timing of infestation throughout the summer months. Spotted-winged Drosophila, which can be abbreviated to SWD, is an invasive fruit fly that made its way to Michigan in 2010. SWD infests ripe, soft-shelled wildberries, which can include blueberries or thimbleberries you might pass during a hike in the UP. When attacking a berry, it will puncture a hole, as pictured here, to insert its eggs. This is known as ovipositing. The eggs grow into larvae, feeding on the berry, and this paired with the inside juices being let out through the puncture hole causes a rapid decay and premature falling of the berry. While SWD has been well studied and found to be detrimental in the agriculture industry, there is very limited knowledge and data of the infectious tendencies of SWD in wild woodlands. This led me to the major questions of, what are the major host species of SWD in wild areas of the Western UP? And does infestation of SWD vary between years or throughout the summer season? And these are important to learn because there are lots of animals who rely on these berries, as well as human foragers who do the same. Answering these questions is the first steps to determining appropriate controls of SWD in wild settings. On to how I conducted the experiment. In field, berries were collected in July to September of both years through weekly trips to the Huron Mountains and trips to Houghton and Keweenaw County sites at differing frequencies. At each site, species would be controlled or would be collected in counts of 50 to 300 berries and transported back to lab in coolers. Once back in lab, berries in their bags would be lightly crushed with the fingertips and filled with the salt solution to sit for 1 to 2 hours, which would help draw the larvae out. Next, the bag contents would be poured over a filter system, as demonstrated here. This filter system would end up leaving the larvae on top of this filter paper, which could be easily placed underneath a dissecting scope. And the larvae, also pictured here, could be identified as SWD by seeing if it had a black mouth hook here, and also if it had pointed ends. On to my results. Linear regression models were used to categorize the infectious rates of SWD seen in the 39,000 berries collected. And to answer my first major question about host species, there was some variation between years, but there was consistently high infestation in the Rosaceae families, as seen here. The counts of the Caprifoliaceae and Ericaceae families were a little bit different in 2019 and 2020, but the averages for both years was very similar at about 0.3 SWD per berry. To answer my second major question concerning timing of infestation, there was a very strong trend of highest infestation in the late season, which consisted of late August to the beginning of September. This was followed by the middle season being late July to the beginning of August, and the early season being the beginning of July. To end with my discussion, SWD did appear to infect much more in the late season for all wild berry families, which could be due to ripeness of the berries contributing olfactory cues that attracted SWD. And the variation seen in infestation between species could be explained by the fact that different species have thinner or thicker skins. A thinner skin, as seen in raspberries, for example, is more easy to penetrate than a blueberry, which could make raspberries more favorable to SWD. Different species also have differing speeds of decay. Honeysuckle, as pictured here, in the field seemed to be uninfected for most of its life, and then it would experience periods of rapid infection, and within 1 to 2 weeks, it would have dropped and fell. And meanwhile, raspberries appeared to be infected as soon as ripe fruit appeared and until it fell off 4 to 6 weeks later. So infected honeysuckle could be collected not as long as infected raspberries could be. And finally, our study very much supported the idea that SWD have a color preference. The Rosaceae family consists of red berries, and infection rates were very high. This can be explained that red has a certain reflection of light to create the best contrast for SWD to distinguish them from the foreground. Thank you for listening. Feel free to send in any questions. Thanks.